Hi, this is Tony Kiprayos from Axiom Financial Group, and thanks so much for joining us today. In today's video, we are going to discuss how to make outsized returns by investing in transformative and disruptive niche industries. Thanks so much for joining us today, and please stay tuned for the video. In today's video, we're going to discuss an example of an investment that we made in June 2020 that attempts to invest in potentially transformative and disruptive niche sectors. We invested in a niche venture capital fund back in June 2020 that had a goal of investing in early stage companies via a private equity fund that it works in a non-traditional pharmaceutical industry working with a variation of psychedelic medicines. This fund invests in transformative companies that are using non-traditional medicines to fight against global ailments such as PTSD, anxiety, depression, opioid addiction, and many other global ailments that impact millions of people around the globe. As of today's environment in the pharmaceutical industry, a lot of these ailments are not successfully able to be defeated by the current pharmaceutical options. And psychedelic medicines, which are organic or natural medicines that have dated back tens of thousands of years, are actually surprisingly a great way to fight some of these ailments and are being researched and used by early stage companies to create pharmaceutical solutions to a lot of these ailments which millions of people around the world are impacted by. Now, this is just an example of an investment that we made back in 2020 that was in a nascent industry, early stage. It definitely had risk and it definitely had a longer time horizon, but with the goal of making outsized or above average returns. So far, we are about 5 years in. The fund is about 5 years old. We're now in the harvest mode of this fund, so we have about another 5 years left where we're going to hopefully get a lot of our principal and then, of course, multiples on that principal through capital distributions. So far the fund is going well and we're expecting some distributions coming here in the near term, but I just wanted to show an example of how you can make outsized returns. And there's a few key components to investing in something that you hope to make outsized returns with. And one is you have to have typically a long-term time horizon, because if you're going to invest in disruptive technologies or disruptive industries, it typically takes a long time for these things to come to fruition. So we're not talking about a 1 or 2 year horizon, we're talking about typically a 3 to 10 year horizon. So you need a longer time frame to be able to invest in potentially disruptive industries. The second thing you need to do is you need to have some sort of risk tolerance. When you are investing in these things, it's typically done through private equity or venture funds or direct deals into private companies. This is on the higher risk portion of the investment options out there, and there's going to be some failures, there's going to be some companies that can't make it, so you definitely have to have a little bit of a higher risk tolerance for this area of your investment portfolio. But for that risk, that's where you're going after those outsized returns that you could never get by investing in the traditional stock and bond markets. And the third aspect of being able to invest in potentially disruptive industries or disruptive technological investments is you need a fund manager that understands this industry, has a good network in this industry, and understands where to deploy capital. Because typically, especially when you're investing in early stage companies, which is high risk in general, and then a new industry which adds another layer of risk, There's going to be a lot of companies that aren't investable. There's going to be companies that are investable, and trying to understand which are which is a very important part of this process. And that's why you need a third-party fund manager that actually has some sort of advantage or edge in that area. So those three areas is what we look for when we invest in some certain niche areas that we're trying to create outsized returns from. So, you know, we're so far very pleased with this particular example of the investment that I mentioned. But this is just an example. We've invested in other areas that we think are potentially disruptive. And when we do invest in these disruptive areas, these are the key components that we look for. So anyway, thanks so much for joining us today for the video, and please stay tuned for next month's videos. Have a great day and take care.